Again, I'm being honest with you. I didn't know that was going on. I hadn't watched the BCS show. I don't read the newspaper. Sometimes people put things on my desk, and Kevin knows this, and I think you guys trust Kevin. There's a lot that goes on that I don't know about, and if he thinks it's something I need to know about, he'll come and tell me because he knows I don't know. Just like before the game when Lisa Salters asked me what I thought of the earthquake. I didn't know there was an earthquake that night, and I didn't know because I just go straight to and I don't pay attention to much anything else. So I don't really have an answer for that because I don't really know how other people think or how other people feel about them compared to us.
Coach, apologies to my media brethren about pressure questions. We can get back to them. But you got a senior class, and I know they've still got some games to play. Mm-hmm. Talk a little bit about Rashedi Jones, on and off the field, and what he has meant to this program.
Well, we were looking for a player to give us a lift with the departure of Ori Lemon. Ori, we had an unfortunate injury prior to the Georgia game, and everybody was heartbroken. And then he comes back and was probably the best leader we've ever had around here, and carried that defense last year. And when he departed, our concerns were who's going to step up and take that role, because we got some guys on defense that are good players, but they're all quiet. They lead by example, which is my favorite way of guys to lead, but you also got to have somebody that'll talk a little bit. And Broderick Brown's not going to do it, and Jamie Blatnick's not going to do it. Markel, he's not as outspoken as you'd want him to be. So we didn't have that guy. Rashedi has taken that role. And when he started, I mentioned to him that you can't take this role over and you can't talk and be a vocal leader unless you back it up by the effort that you give us on Saturdays. And so his effort's been really good. He laid out and caused the fumble down here at the first of the game. And so he's kind of taken that role on. He's nurturing some of our freshmen that aren't really sure that all the hard work's worth it, and they go through those situations. He's done a nice job with those players. So he's come a long way. And I mentioned at times guys that are a true success story in college football, and talk about Kai Staley and talk about what Ori's gone through. And Rashedi kind of falls in that category with the traumatic hip injury. He had a bad injury. And a lot of times guys can't even come back from that. And it took him 2 years, and then he was just average, and he got a little better. And so now he's become one of our vocal leaders on our football team and the main vocal leader on our defense.
He said on that last play, he saw you and Billy Young on the sidelines pushing him out to the 9. Mm-hmm. And Billy Young said fans wouldn't notice it, but his influence on that play blocked Klein's view.
Yeah, we wanted him out wide, and everybody was yelling, and I don't know how I don't think he heard us, but I don't know, he had vision with us, and we moved him out, and he got up the field and contained the quarterback on that play, which forced him to called his hand on about his 5th step, where he either had to make a throw or try to cut back and run, compared to letting it go on out there about 15 more steps. And he moved out and got up the field, and it was a big part of that play.
Another player, James Thomas, we've talked about this several times, how he's an opportunistic guy.
Right.
I hate to use the word luck, but how else would you describe this?
Well, there's some luck involved in it, but James has got some savvy. He needs to play harder all the time, but it's interesting when he's in there, the one thing he's done is he's chased the ball. And good defensive players will always chase the ball no matter what. And then if you're in the area where the ball's on the ground or in the air, obviously if you're chasing it, you have a chance. And the second part of that is when he has had a chance to make a play, he's made a play. I mean, he's caught every one of them, and then he's ended up running the ball and being effective. And so chase the football, be in the right spot, and then if you get a chance to make a play, you got to make a play.
Both Rashedi and Brandon were talking about how playing in Lubbock just kind of has a different feel. The fans are really rowdy. What are some of your memories from going out there? What makes that such a weird place sometimes to play?
Oh, I don't know if I don't really see it that way myself. I kind of feel like it's like all the other road games we have. I mean, it's it's not easy to play anywhere we go in this league. So I don't really see it any different myself. It's hard for me to comment on that.
What is going on with Tech, though? They had one of the great wins in school history. And 2 games since then, including one at home against a mediocre team, and just lost. They've been bad. What's going on?
I don't know, Barry. It's hard to say what goes through these guys' minds and what causes them to perform at a really high level or not perform at a level as high as they would want to. I don't know. It's just hard to say. But they have the capability of moving the ball, scoring fast, and scoring quite a few points. And then defensively, there's been times where they've played good, really good. So as far as how or why the roller coaster, I can't explain that.
Tuberville said he was pretty despondent after the game. He said, we can't stop anybody who can run the ball. That's got to put a smile on your face if it's true, doesn't it?
Yeah, we run the ball. Now, the running game that he saw Saturday was not what we do. Obviously, we know that. We had 2 tight ends in the game and a fullback a number of times, and they're blocking down, they're pulling a guard, and fullback's leading up in the hole. So I think his response there was in reference to what would be a traditional power running game.
Is that what Iowa State does largely also?
I haven't seen that one yet. Since they changed quarterbacks, I have not watched that tape yet. I've had discussions about that game with some guys on our staff, but I hadn't gotten into that part of it yet.
In his press conference today, Les Miles was very, very complimentary of you, taking this program to a level even higher than you. What's your relationship like with him? Do you talk much?
I have a good relationship with Les, but Dave, I've said this many times, I don't talk to anybody. I haven't talked to my brother in 6 weeks, and that's just because he called and he needed to borrow something. Chainsaw or something. I don't know what it was, but I haven't talked to him. I mean, we have a great relationship. When the season's over, we communicate. Our kids talk more, but I don't. Larry Fedora and I are good buddies, and we text maybe 5 times a year. I have a lot of respect for him as a football coach, and I've said this publicly the last year or two, and specifically over the last few months when people have mentioned him. There was a nice article on him in Sports Illustrated just recently. They had called, I can't remember who wrote the article, but they called and were asked questions about him, and I visited with him a little bit. So there's somebody has a subscription to Sports Illustrated, and so they put it on my desk, and I read it last week, and I thought it was very well deserved. I don't know why people have been on him for the last 2 or 3 years. All he's done is won a bunch of football games on the road and at home and kept them up here, and he's had 6 or 8 top 10 recruiting classes. So what he's done, in my opinion, has been pretty good. And
Playing the national championship?
weird. I mean, I'm not sure weird. If he's there, I sure hope I get the chance. But I'll say this, that he and I have always had a very good relationship. Les is not, I think, and again, I'm putting words in his mouth, I think he had a really good a really close relationship with Bo, and I think he talked to him quite a bit. And then outside of that, again, you'd have to ask him. I don't think he talks to very many people either. He's in his own little world. But I enjoyed the time that I was here with him as an assistant and him being a head coach, because offensively we worked together every day. And we argued all week over this and that, and then on Saturday we'd go out and we had fun. We'd score points, and the system we were in was good, and I learned a lot from him. And it does not surprise me, the success that he's having. But he kind of got the ball rolling here, and I was fortunate enough to take his place, and then able to keep it going from that point on. But everybody needs to be thankful for what he did here now, in my opinion. I mean, that's just my opinion.